Welcome to CAS 231 Desktop Publishing, Columbia Gorge Community College, the Dalles, Oregon, Mrs. Hewitt instructor. This video is going to be for week 9, and you are going to be making a movie theater ad or a reader board ad. Now, those come with some very specific requirements. They're not just open-ended, so we're going to need to go through the directions really carefully this week to make sure you don't miss some pieces. So you've got your objectives, you've got your video. Here are your directions. Now, in these directions, I tried to capture the essence of the requirements, but not all the nuts and bolts of them. So you need to make sure you open the other links and get the details, the nitty-gritty type of details. So you're going to be picking a theme, a topic, or an audience. Are you going to do a reader board for Columbia Gorge Community College or for your business to run at the home show? Most of those run on an image platform. It could be a PowerPoint saved as a JPEG. Something like that will run on most of those types of settings. For the theater, for a movie, they have some very specific requirements that are very similar to what you need to do for a reader board. So it really doesn't matter which one you're doing. They need to basically meet the same requirements. So you're going to get a color and a font scheme. Going to add some formatted fonts in there. Designed to the proper size, and we'll look at that in a minute. Going to be formatting text and images for the limited size and allowed characters. You're going to do shape, clip art, images, crop, graphics, all those types of styles, color effectively. So you're going to do the link, check it out. You're going to get PowerPoint, Photoshop, Illustrator, or some of the better ones. You may be able to do Google Slides. You might have to go with a PDF there versus being able to work with a JPEG. Going to set up your ad, and in PowerPoint, which you would have to do also for Google Slides, to get that proper rectangle size in PowerPoint, there's a design tab that lets you set it up for 35 millimeter slide size. Unless the theater has a wide screen. And if it has a wide screen, then do a custom page setup to make it 2 times as wide as it is tall. Now, if you're using a software that doesn't give you this 35 millimeter option, you may find going with a widescreen your best option. Use static. That means no animations, transitions, things that move, flash, twist, turn, ding, any of those types of things. None of those, as they call them, bells and whistles. In your PowerPoint slides, and that includes for any of these others, so they can run on a slide projector ahead of the show. So you got to figure out your theme, your topic, your audience, pick your movie or your reader board topic. Think about the design elements. And for this one, a simple and concise message is going to be your key. Keep it simple. Your main idea should be focused on one single product or one selling point, not everything under the sun. When you put the graphics or logos or pictures in, always use high resolution, digital images, and text. Think big screen and getting blurry. The suggestion is to avoid using white as your main background color. A dark background with light text is much more appealing look up on the big screen. Never use more than 2 fonts or font sizes in your design. So keep that in mind. You don't want to come in and find a zillion different fonts and a zillion different sizes. That's not going to help your score any. It just makes it too busy. It's too hard to see, because remember, people only see these for a few seconds before it moves on to the next one. Keep your text simple and clean. Thin script fonts are hard to read, so make sure you've got a heavy enough, bold enough font that somebody would see it at 50 feet on a screen. Some of the thin ones are just too hard to read. You only get 20 to 25 words. That's your maximum. When you do your contact information, because that's what most people are going to do if they're doing an ad, you want to stick with the most important parts of your address and phone number if they're going to have address and phone number. Or if it's a website and you're doing a URL, make sure it's an easy to see URL, not one of these that has, you know, hyphens and spaces and dots and dashes and all the extra stuff in it. Make sure it's bold and easy to read. And then in your text document, you can talk about what was easy with this project and what was your biggest challenge with this. I'm also going to ask you, I'm going to add a little something there. I'm going to ask you to also tell me whether this is designed as a movie ad, regular size, widescreen, or as a reader board. So that'll have to be included as well. As you move back over here, there's some more movie ad information in here to help get you going. And again, it reiterates and talks a little bit more about getting those sizes correct. So you can get back to that to look at it. And this is an actual theater guide. It is not something that we've made up. It was actually this group's theater guide. And they talk about the requirements and why to advertise in a movie and some of the requirements for doing it. A lot of my requirements for this project did come from this document. So there's your URL source document right there. It's from them. And then they talk about how to submit it. Now, obviously, you're not submitting yours to them. You're submitting it to Moodle for class. But it's a real interesting idea to go through here and find out exactly what the requirements are. You only get 10 to 12 seconds before it moves. So that you're going to have to make sure everything is really clean and clear and easy to see. And you've got some fee information, which is just nice to look at. Some of their contact information. Again, we won't be using any of that, but if you want to go on to their site and look at some more of their information, you can do that. It's down here at this bottom of this page. Then they've got some ads that are in there. And so these are some of the ads that have been used. Like you notice they don't have a state, they don't have a zip code because that's some of that extra information. Again, pretty limiting on the colors. You've got your background is just red and blue. Again, keeping that down to a pretty basic amount of information. Now, this is going to get lost pretty well. They may include that just because they kind of have to, because it ties in with the medical orthodontic stuff. So they may not really expect you to read it. They just have to kind of like disclaimer with it. So as you go through here, spend some time actually looking at these ads because these are ones that did work. And you're going to want to make sure that yours work as well. Then when you go to upload it here, I will add that extra little information that I do want to know what you were designing for your journal and your forum. This week's forum is thinking about desktop publishing software in general, whether that's Adobe, InDesign, whether that's some other software you're using. Basically, why do you think desktop publishing software is so popular and how can it be used in a business setting? If you work in a business situation now, what software are they using and for what types of projects? And that pretty well takes you through week 9.